they say all men are created equal.
Shot! Master!
I'll pull out the Glock. Full of suffering, succotash, son.
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass.
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast with Lucy and Estelle. And it's Thursday, so you know what that means. It's the day after AEW Dynamite, so we're back with another rundown of everything that happened, giving our thoughts. Unfortunately, with being UK fans, we kind of inevitably saw some spoilers because we couldn't stay up till stupid o'clock in the morning to watch it. So that means we, do tend to come across spoilers. So that kind of it's not ideal. Did you see many spoilers before it, Estelle?
Yeah, I did catch the Copeland one. But luckily the Okada one was unspoiled for me. I know that wasn't the case for you.
Yeah, I
a lot
got
of spoilers.
both of those pretty graphics right in my face on Instagram. Like, woke up.
Yeah, the account has been unfollowed now. No more. As much as I love to support and like and help give them clout, like I just can't do it anymore because Instagram is the killer for me.
Yeah, it's like you could stay off social media, but you just don't think to do that. Like,
It's always the top. Yeah, you just tap on it like in the middle of the night. Last night I just tapped on it for just a bit of doom scroll and instantly, boom,
Yeah.
Adam Copeland, new TNT champion. I was like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, like after a pay-per-view, I can consciously kind of avoid spoilers, but
Yeah,
after
after a pay-per-view,
Dynamite, it's just like not really possible. But nonetheless, I still enjoyed the show.
I thought
didn't
the
take
show
away
was
too much.
great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the show was absolutely stacked. And it just kept giving. I thought it was really dynamic as well. Like we'll get into it, like the presentation,
Yeah.
in aspects. They experiment with some new stuff this week, and again the constant rotation of the same wrestlers coming in and out. Like thoroughly enjoyed. But yeah, have you got anything else to say, or should we just get into it?
Oh, let's dive straight in.
Right. So we did start off with a Monet segment. So the promo, it was similar to last week's.
Yeah.
Still babyface, but it was a lot shorter and a lot more simpler, and it was to the point, essentially just outlining that 10 months ago, Willow Nightingale was responsible for an almost career-threatening injury. Then there was a promo played to sort of introduce her to new fans, although I'm pretty sure everyone who follows AEW knows who she is. But still, I do think that's it's a good attitude to have. That not everyone is going to know that there might be some casual fans who are just tuning in just because it's Monet, and it's a good attitude to keep going forward in future. So yeah, what did you make of that, really?
Yeah, I think that some AEW fans as well that might not have watched her WWE stuff, so they might not get what's the big deal, and they might not have watched her stuff after WWE too in Japan. So I think, yeah, I agree that that's a good attitude to have. Like, there's no need to assume that everyone knows everything, and just kind of laying it out like that is good. It's fine, and there's nothing wrong with that, even if everyone does know who the person is. It's nice to see a video package like that, and I enjoyed it. Making someone feel like a big deal. It's very good.
Yeah, it definitely helped continue to make her a big deal. So obviously last week the ending of, what the hell was it called? Big Business. She made the save for Willow after Julia and Sky Blue tried to interfere at the end of the match with Riho, and Monet made the save. So this week she kind of made a little mention of it, that she has some history with Willow. And after the promo played and she carried on, hamming it up. Then we got a little blackout. Julia and Sky appear. They go to attack Monet, but Willow and Stat come out and make the save, and there's sort of like a mini face-off, bit of side-eyeing, and then they just disappear. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate the consistency. I appreciate this consistent storyline, but it isn't that exciting for me. The part that got me the most excited for this was actually later on in the night when Monet and Statlander had a proper little interaction. That actually did get me quite hyped. But I mean, it's just the typical Tony Khan booking of we're going to get him to face a mid-carder rather than the top tier talent. I don't know whether Baker, isn't ready to come back, whether um you know, Tony Stormy wants to wrap up that program with Diona and Mariah. I don't know, but personally, it's just a bit lukewarm. It's just a bit
Mm.
anticlimactic.
Yeah,
After you've
and
made that promo and hyped her up to be, she is the best. And yeah, she might have history with Willow, but it's just the Tony booking.
yeah, and it's like I totally yeah, like you said, at least they've kept it consistent from last week, and they're trying to tell a story. Yeah, I get that, and I'm glad for Sky Blue and Julia Hart they're getting that chance. But I wish that they could. I mean, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I want to know what they're doing and what their motive is, and what you need some explanation behind that. But then also as well, they're doing a thing with Willow, and she kind of looked like she was going to hit Monet with a chair, and then
Yeah,
she
with the
didn't.
chair, and that tension continued to build throughout the night, and that's fairly interesting. But the thing is, with Willow, and I do enjoy Willow's character, but it is a bit one-dimensional. So I just hope something comes of it with the tension with Statlander and Willow, because we've had the tension in the past and nothing's come of it. It's like, oh, but we're still great friends and we've still overcome it. So then it's kind of inconsequential. Um, yeah, it's simple, it's effective, it makes sense, but it could be more. And
Yeah, I
also,
feel
like
like.
Sky and Julie just aren't very threatening.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, why would Monet care? Why is she bothered about them like coming out, like the lights going out and them suddenly appearing? I don't know, it's just a little bit like overcomplicated. I feel like we could go all in with a feud with Willow. I mean, that story is kind of
I think that is
wanting to
the
be
end.
told.
That is the end product. But yeah, why throw Sky and Julia into it? I guess maybe to give them the rub. But what can sometimes happen then is you're actually dragging Monet's star power down and
Yeah,
leveling
it's
out
like
to theirs. So
it's a double-edged sword. It can go like either way. I don't know. I'm open-minded to see how it goes, but
it is
I
only week two.
agree.
Yeah, I don't mean to be
hmm
being overly critical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to skip to the Baker feud. To be honest with you, and like I say, I just I'm just hesitant. It's hard to have faith in the women's division, not them, but just the booking. It's hard for me to trust. Like, yeah, you're offering me something that's all right, and you're telling me there's the potential for good. And if I keep waiting out, there's going to be potential for great. But I don't trust you. I don't
Yeah.
trust you. Essentially, is where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, I totally
Um,
because with
yeah,
the women's division is just like things tend to fizzle out. So you like get to the good bit while it's still good. Don't let it fizzle out. So
strike it while it's hot,
mhm.
essentially. Um, but yeah, we'll touch on that a bit later because there's a few more segments and stuff. Then there was a Books and Okada segment where essentially just Books back up to their heel antics, um, essentially saying to I'm sorry, I still haven't learnt the backstage interviewer's name,
No,
but
me
that he
neither.
needs to
We're
learn
awful.
Japanese.
Yeah.
He should get on Duolingo. Um, I mean, I don't know if I was just reading too far into this, but I quite enjoyed this from the perspective of why should why is it a problem if people who are Hispanic or Japanese, they speak their native tongue in promo. Like, I mean, I kind of get it because like it's tough for them to get over and connect with the audience, but I don't know if I was just reading too far into it, but it did seem kind of like a little bit of like a dig sort of thing in a good way.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I always find it really irritating when, you know, like you say, a Japanese wrestler, for example, starts cutting a promo. They do it in WWE a lot with Asuka. She'll cut what is obviously a really good
Mm.
promo, but it'll be in Japanese and it's really intense. And you have like rude people being like with the what chants and stuff and being like, criticizing it. And I'm just like, come on, does it matter? Does it really matter? I don't know, like
I think it works best the way when they do it like that. The impassioned promo in Japanese, say,
yeah,
and then afterwards, like the way Okada did it, he said something, couldn't tell you what he said, but I could tell you he fucking meant business. And then he was like,
yeah,
Eddie, I'm coming for you. And I was like, it
yeah.
was so
I love
impactful.
that.
Um, but yeah, and the book say they can't come down because of the continental belt rules, but they will be in the production truck cheering him on. So yeah, that was nice. And then obviously we go into the match. Um, I really liked how talking about like dynamic presentation when Eddie was coming out, Renee was at the side of the ramp and she sort of gave like a little intro and it really had that sports feel. I know that's the kind of the presentation they're going towards. It really worked for me. I liked it. I
I
liked it a
knew
lot.
as soon as that happened that we would talk about that, and I knew that we would both love it. It's
And her
just,
jumper. That was
oh my God.
gorgeous. It was so
She's
beautiful.
always the best dressed. I've said this before. She's always the best dressed. But yeah,
She's glowing in Canada,
yeah,
in her
you're
homeland.
right though. It made it feel like a real. It was very
Like a
sporty.
big match feel,
Yeah.
which it's a title match, so it should feel like that.
100%.
Yeah, so I love this match because I don't know, like I was kind of like, well, it'd be a bit soon for Eddie to lose the belt, but also Okada can't lose because he's fucking Okada, and that would lose a lot of his credibility. So I know it kind of sucks for you because you kind of knew, but for me, I was very much, oh, like what's going to happen? And I loved the story they were telling. Eddie was very like emotional. He's fired up. He's protective of the belt. It means a lot to him. And Okada's just there like, you mean nothing to me. Like I've got no respect for you. Um, just calm and collected. And throughout the match, he just kept like faking out like moves and like luring Eddie in, and then he just get him and it like with a cocky smile. Like I just fucking love Okada. Like I just love him.
His facial expressions were so on point during this match. His selling, I mean, both of them. But Okada really stood out in this match. The way he sold the chops from Eddie, and he made it seem
Yeah,
like
I
he
mean,
was about to
his chest was
die.
literally blown up. So like
Yeah.
I can't imagine it was that hard to sell it, but
Yeah.
fucking hell. Um, yeah, he baited him in with the DDT on the ramp. And I love the little cuts to the back with Bucks with Tony
Yes,
Khan.
I love
Just
that. What an awesome little detail that was. And it's just like,
it was just little details throughout this show that just really added to. I don't know, but I was just really,
yeah,
like I say, making it more dynamic.
I was really into that because I loved how they could have done the typical backstage thing where they're watching a TV from a stupid angle and they're making comments. But it was essentially that, but it was so much better. It was 10 times
But
better
they're the
because you had Tony
EVPs.
Khan there. Yeah, and it's like they're obviously kissing his butt and like he loves them and he loves oh, it was just something so simple yet really clever about the way they did that.
Yeah, Okada won with the Rainmaker. So obviously he won, which yeah, I mean, I was so happy about that because I was kind of rooting for him during it. I was like, out of the two of them, like he just can't lose. Like if he lost, I don't even if he protected it, like it's Okada, like you can't make him lose. And I loved going back to the production truck. The way when the Bucks went back and then they're like, and then suddenly started celebrating, like they had a millennial pause before. It just cracked me up. And then,
Of
as if
course.
that's not enough, fucking Pac comes out at the end. I was like, oh my, I was
Yeah.
losing my shit. I was
Yeah, it
losing my
was just
shit.
like it was non-stop. Because they had a thing on Collision. They would like face each other in a tag team match, like it was like a six-man. So them two faced off. If I'm remembering right, I think I am, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm into this. So
Yeah.
I'm really into seeing where it goes with Okada and Pat going forward. I mean, yeah, that'll be a fantastic match. That is like a dream match to me. That it's one of them matches I
Hopefully,
never thought
Dynasty.
would ever happen. Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Hopefully, they run like an actual program because,
Yeah,
like
I don't want to rush
Pac
it.
is awesome. And I want Pac to have something to sink his teeth into while he's sort of coming back because he's came back, but yeah, in any storylines. So give him something to do,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, and it'll really shine when he's got some good character work and then an amazing opponent in the ring as well. He'll definitely show what he's made of.
Yeah. So after that high, then we cut backstage again, and like I said, there's a lot of cutting backstage, a lot of interviews and promos, and I enjoyed it very much. The wrestling was great. The wrestling had a lot of time, but you do need to cut it up with the promos and the backstage segments, and that doesn't mean it has to be done in a sports entertainment way. Not that I'm knocking that way, but it can be presented in this way, and you're still telling stories. But yeah, we cut backstage to Renee now with Swerve, who still had his little chain around his neck, and essentially he issued an open challenge. And what I enjoyed from this is, yeah, Hangman's not about, yeah, Joe's wrapped up. Well, he came out there, but like Joe wasn't on the show. There isn't really a spot for Swerve, but to keep it consistent and to keep the same people in, we're going to make him do an open challenge. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because if he is a challenger for the championship, which obviously he is, it makes sense. He's a wrestler. He's contracted with the company. Like if we're thinking about this from a kayfabe perspective, he's going to want to wrestle every week and prove himself. So why wouldn't he do that? Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And then we got another backstage bit with, like we were talking about earlier, Willow and Stat, and essentially they're just promoting the street fight, which unfortunately neither of us have yet had the chance to watch. I've heard a little murmuring about it.
I've
Apparently,
heard
Sky
it
Blue
was
got a
pretty
sick
brutal,
fuck
apparently.
chant.
Mm.
Yeah, so that piqued my interest. So definitely probably will check it out. Um, Again, nice that I mean I don't watch Rampage consistently, but at least they're putting something on it that entices you to want to watch it because
Yeah,
that is
for
quite
sure.
enticing. And it's a women's match. Um, but the interesting part about this, like I say, Monet kind of comes out and she sort of faces Stat and she's like, "Oh, thanks for helping me out." And then Stat's like, "No problem." And then to Willow, she's like, "You've done it, you."
Yeah,
You
yes.
know,
Yeah,
just kind of
essentially, yeah.
Willow's just there like whoopsie. But yeah, I like this because it's complex. And like I said, I hope it's consequential. I hope it actually does have an impact on Chris Statlander and Willow's friendship. Um, because surely that would create tension if Monet is in and she's giving the respect to Statlander but not to Willow, but Willow didn't actually do anything really. It's just paranoia and tension. Um, but yeah, and again, we sort of got to see a bit of edginess with Monet, which, like I say, like I much prefer that sort of egotistical presentation of the character.
Yeah, and we all know, I mean, it's obvious from calling herself the CEO that she's egotistical and she's cocky and she thinks she's the best, so it makes sense for that to come through. And I think you're right, it's like we've got a bit of a few layers to this story, which makes it more interesting, um, and makes you wonder like what they're gonna do next, sort of thing. So, and as well, I liked that they did it over two segments, and like it's
Mm,
not they didn't have loads of time, but what they did with that time, like they they made it worth it, and you had that spread throughout the show, so it didn't feel like it was rushed, and it was given that time to sort of pan out.
exactly. And from this segment, like I say, I'm most excited for this little trio. I don't care for the Julia and Sky thing. I mean, I haven't watched the street fight. Maybe if I watch the street fight, I'll feel a bit better about it. But again, like my takeaway is, yeah, it was spread over two segments, but the Sky and Julia thing is like probably my least favorite part about those segments. And like you're saying, we could have edited that out. I know it sounds harsh, like editing out more women, but sometimes you need to edit out because else it all just kind of flattens out into mediocrity,
Mm.
if that makes sense. Like you need to have like your top tier programs and like yeah, run a mid carder, run somewhat lower down the card. I don't care, but in the men's division, for example, you've got your champions at the top. And I get that it's for the TBS title. That's what we're kind of centering around. We're not really centering around the women's title. So maybe I don't know. maybe I am in the wrong there, but then why the hell is Monet in that for the TBS? She's in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's like you
I'm
want the
sorry, I just can't let
focus.
it go. I just can't let it go.
I know, because
It just feels
you're
wrong.
right. Because you should have the focus on one thing. The focus should either be on Monet coming in a big feud or the TBS Championship. You can't really have the focus split between those two things because then that's when it starts to get a bit confusing. So
Or it be
yeah,
for the actual women's title as
well,
opposed to the
yeah,
TBS. That's the only way it can work because Monet overshadows the TBS title.
yeah,
I
but
don't know
like
if the plan is maybe her become TBS champion and then she comes for Tony Storm and she's like, I want both.
maybe I
I
don't
just
know.
don't know, but
But
I just
yeah, my point was that like both Monet and the TBS title are involved in this sort of storyline, but she's not going for the title, so you kind of have it split, and then it's like, well, if she was going for it, it would make sense, but she doesn't. It's not like doesn't seem like she is yet.
yeah, she's not that bothered. She's like,
Mm,
oh yeah, I'll take you out, like you're pissing me off, but Willow, now you. And again, yeah, it's kind of like not giving the significance to the title that it would deserve if you are going to big it up.
hmm
You're so right there. You always just like you say what I'm thinking better than myself, I swear.
It's because we
Um,
share a brain cell.
with a single one, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna start ranting again.
Oh, please
I
go
swear I
ahead.
did enjoy this show. I thought I enjoyed this show, but the more I'm like talking about, I'm just ranting about everything. Yeah. So next I got my favorite wrestler, Chris Jericho versus Hook. And it's not necessarily the match. It's the fallout of the match, but we'll get there. And God, he came out to a poor reaction to say he's in Canada.
I know he looks like nothing. I think it's because he didn't do Judas though. I know he hasn't done it
I
for a
don't know. I
while,
think
but
people just genuinely just fed, like even in Canada, they're fed up of him.
that's saying a lot.
I feel like he started coming out to that line art theme, whatever the hell that theme is, because people aren't singing along to Judas, maybe it's just to save face. But the Lionheart character seems to be a compassionate and, you know, respectable veteran, and that is just not.
I don't get
If
it.
he'd
I don't get
reinvented
it.
himself and gone full heel, I think people would have actually found him cool again eventually.
Yeah,
But to try to save
exactly.
face and be like, guys, I'm so wholesome. I'm the lion hat. Do you remember when I did the lion salt? Do you remember that guy? It's like,
I
stop it, you're trying too hard.
I love the young people. That's essentially what Chris Jericho is doing right now. If you're right, if he went full arsehole, it would be funny. But he's like trying to force people
Yeah.
to like him. We're all just a bit like, not really interested.
Yeah, literally. And so to start with, Hook kind of gets a shot in. And then Jericho's out, and bloody Bryce Remsburg, of course, takes about 5 hours to start the match. Bit overkill, that. We really
Yeah.
need to get over the fact that his head's hurt, you know. We really need to get it over. I've got it.
It's
We
like, yeah,
noticed, don't
we get the
worry.
message, and it was just kind of like getting a bit impatient now. Just bloody start the match.
Yeah, Hook's trying to go in. Bryce Remsburg, obviously, like, no, no, you can't, you can't. How dare he do his job? Anyway, it was quite a typical Jericho match and quite a typical Hook match. Hook just effectively just German suplex the shit out of Jericho. It was quite gnarly to look at the way he kept landing on his head. Obviously, you know he's fine, but it
Yeah.
was quite effectively done. And then we went picture in picture, and then Jericho had a bit of a comeback, started walking on the ropes a bit. Like I said, did the lion salt. Um, and continued selling the head really well in his favour. Um, yeah, it was mixed up his move set quite a bit to make himself be more dexterous, high flying. But like I say, is that really the most effective use of your time? Because you're never gonna. I'm such a hater today, but you're never gonna be like, why are you trying to work at the same work rate as Will Ospreay? Like, I don't get it. Like a Will Ospreay or a Kenny Omega. Like, is that really the most effective use of your time? I don't get it. But anyways, and it was quite long as well.
It
Like the
was.
match was quite long.
Yeah, I thought
And
that. I thought
Yeah,
that I was just a bit like, I'm a little bit bored by this point.
yeah. We went through, like I say, an ad break, and it ended with Red Rum. Jericho kind of tries to get him reverse it into an attempted walls Jericho, and then Hook kind of rolls him up in like a little inside cradle, and he takes the victory.
Yeah, I was just like, we knew that Hook had to win that match. And I just kind of thought, could he
Oh,
not
I
have
would have
won?
absolutely lost it if he didn't.
I know, I was like, could he not have won with Red Rum? I didn't, I guess,
But apparently they put it over as it's his first pinfall victory, so it was like this amazing thing. But it was an inside cradle. Like it would have looked much more killer if you put him at Red Rum and Jericho would have tapped out. That's a cooler finish.
I guess like for Jericho, maybe,
Protect him.
yeah, protect him from tapping out because tapping out is, generally considered like a weaker way to lose. But yeah, he's the veteran and Hook's the young guy. But I think we're past that now. We said this last week. Hook literally wrestled for the championship like not that long ago, and then afterwards, like I can't remember if it was directly afterwards or a couple of segments later. Sorry, I'm just skipping to this because it's on my mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can
Jericho had that
go to that.
interview backstage, and he was like, "Hook, you got my respect. You're just as bad as everyone
And that,
says you are." And
I
I
was like,
was
yeah,
like,
finish, cut, perfect. End it there. You don't need to speak anymore, Jericho, because what he said next pissed me the fuck off. I've got a proposition for you next week. Fuck off. Actually, fuck off.
I was like, "Oh right. So is he gonna say what it is? Like, is he
Jerry
gonna
Hook.
make a
It's gonna
proposition
be
for
Jerry
next
Hook.
week?" But he didn't. He was just like, he just awkwardly walked off camera after he said that.
Oh, because you know what it is. It's Jerry Hook, and they're gonna be a tag team.
Yeah, but it's just like what really got me about this was the fact that, again, we said it last time, Jericho's word doesn't basically means nothing. I mean, I think
No.
he thinks that people care, at least from an audience perspective, about his word and respect more than we actually do. Like,
Oh.
I do not care if you respect Hook or not. Like, yeah, you're a veteran, whatever. Everyone loves Hook. He doesn't need to be put over, especially not by Chris
Yeah,
Jericho.
it just reminds me of, like, what does Corey Taylor think? Like that kind of thing of my opinion is so important. And it Dynasty when Osprey takes on Danielson, and if Danielson shakes his hand at the end and has his respect, that is symbolic. If during Okada Eddie, if at the end Okada just suddenly had a change of heart and have shook Eddie's hand or been like, do you know what, Eddie? Like, you're actually a good competitor. That means something. Again, Jericho putting him over means nothing. And more to the point, I cannot handle it if he is going to be in a tag team with him. I can't.
I
I
pray to
hope there's
God.
some kind of heel turn or it's just some kind of baiting. Like next week, he's like, oh, we're about to be in a tag team. And then Jericho, perfect. Maybe Jericho's like, let's be tag teams. Hook's like, yay. And then Jericho just beats the shit out of Hook and then turns full heel. But then either
Yeah.
way, I'd have to have a Jericho Hook program, which I don't want. I don't want, but if I'm getting it, at least give it to me that way. At least make it somewhat interesting.
I kind of got that impression from this interview that Jericho did that he seemed to. I'm probably thinking too much into it, like he probably was
No,
just
you
tired or
are.
something. But he
You
just seemed a
probably
bit
are.
sort of what's the word? Like reserved and distant, as if he was like thinking and
But I
like,
think that's just
oh,
him.
this little dickhead. Yeah,
I
quite
think that is just
possibly.
his real personality. Like he's just upset at the reaction that he's getting lately, and he has no self-awareness. And again, I'm not trying to shit on Jericho's legacy or anything. Like I said, it took me a long time to get to this point of being just purely fed up. It was specifically the Winnipeg Jets, the Golden Jets, whatever. That was my breaking point when he came for Kenny. But I don't think he has any self-awareness at all.
He's
And I
just
think for
a
so
he's
long his ego's been like built up by people being like, he's a genius, and like he's gone full Hulk Hogan mode.
full Hulk Hogan. Oh, don't go full Hulk Hogan. The one thing you do not want to do.
I mean, we're already down the right wing pipeline with that. Anyways, so the segment before that, though, in between this, was Adam Cole cut a promo being like, I'm
Ah, yeah.
disappointed in you, Wardlow. You fucked up, which he did. Um, I love the Freudian slip of I should be, you should be. I thought that was subtle
Yeah,
but great.
I
I love the
rewinded on that part. I rewinded on that because I was like, because part of me was like, oh, I just wanted, I don't know what it was. I just wanted to see it again because obviously I knew it was obviously like planned because it was a pre-recorded like segment, but I was just like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, it felt like a
It
real
felt real.
watch.
Yeah.
It was a great little slip. I like that. And he says that, he's fucked up in winning the title, but he needs to go about protecting the others. He needs to protect Roddy with the Intercontinental International title, and Bennett and Taven with the Ring of Honors. Is it the Ring of Honor they have, or is it the real? Who the fuck's tag team champion? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Who
Uh,
is the? No, no one is. No one is because
yeah,
it got given up and we're doing a
it's the
tournament. Right? Yeah.
tournament. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. They're the Ring of Honor.
Yes. So Ring of Honor title, which is so important that we must protect them with our lives. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. I liked the, you want to keep Adam Cole there because he is supposed to be the ultimate evil. Whether he is looking like the ultimate evil right now, no. But I guess that can't be helped because he is injured, so there's a limited amount he could do. But I like this sort of villainous promo that he did.
Yeah, it's making him seem like the puppet master behind it, and I think that's exactly what you need to do with. Well, if he can't be in the ring, then he should be the one, like directing traffic, getting everyone to do his dirty work for him. And he's so good at promos, so it works for me.
Yeah, and I like the way that it was directed towards Wardlow. Just that
Yeah,
little touch of just something a bit different. I like it. And then after that, we got another little talking segment. Osprey came out, and apologized for last time that he was in Canada with the Shawn Michaels flag spot with his match with Kenny. Then there was a 2 minute long bruv chant, which I'm sure you loved.
I kind of just like zoned out. I wasn't really paying much attention at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a good little promo. He said that Danielson went to New Japan, but he couldn't quite do what Osprey did. Osprey had already laid the groundwork. He tried on Danielson's shoes, but they were too small. They're too small for him. He's basically, he's the better wrestler essentially. And I liked that he called out Shibata for next week at Dynamite. Because obviously on Collision, Shibata versus Danielson. I'm pretty sure he's on Rampage as well, so it's kind of nice that he's like more consistently in. Like, if we're going to have these people come over from Japan or from Mexico come in and do a match, like let's make our full use of them. I guess it depends on contract and schedule, but let's make our full use of them because then the audience is going to be more familiar with them. And I know it sometimes might seem like one-off appearances makes it seem like a big deal, but that's not really true if people don't really know them or they really don't really care about them.
Yeah, it's just forgettable in
And
that case.
I'm enjoying how long term this build is as well as my other point that I'd like to make.
Yeah, for Danielson and Osprey.
Yeah, because obviously it's going to culminate at Dynasty. It's nice because usually we leave it last minute till we start booking matches on the card. So it's nice that we've got a match and we're making a big
Building
deal
to
out
it.
of it. And it is a
Yeah,
big deal. So
yeah. I mean, I'm glad that Osprey has a match scheduled for next week. So I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, is he just going to come out and talk shit every week? Like, is Danielson not going to come out and tell him to shut the fuck up, or is he going to get in the ring and back up his words? So yeah, I'm glad and I am looking forward to that match next week. I know that the Blackpool Combat Club are mostly on Collision. It would be nice to let them have like let Danielson like chat back on
yeah, they need to have some
Dynamite.
kind of interaction.
Yeah, I want to see them cross paths. Because I think
But
a
they're
lot
kind
of
of doing that
people.
through Shibata at the minute. I think that's the
Mm,
point, is like I wrestled Shibata, now you wrestle Shibata. I can wrestle him better than you. So it's a very passive aggressive sort of
true.
way. And it's like that way of pure wrestling of like just let the wrestling do the top. But I do agree, like after this, like he should come out and sort of do something.
It's not like Brian to just let someone chat shit without doing something about it. Like, I don't know. But nah, as a I was gonna say as an Osprey hater, I'm not an Osprey hater. I as not a fan of Osprey's promos, it was fine. It was fine.
It was effective and it did the job. So I thought you might like the bit where he mentioned, "I've got two pugs, I've got a girlfriend,
Got a
I've got a
missus.
son, I've got a mortgage." I thought Lucy will like that as well.
I love
So I
that. I
know she
love
likes
hearing
it when
that.
he
If
talks about
if he's a face at the moment, fine. Yeah, play
that.
into that. If he was being a heel, then no, I would not like that. But like, if you're a face,
Heels aren't allowed to have families and dogs.
no, they're not. They're not. You have to be an evil person.
Oh, future Jim Cornette over there. Anyway, so next we got a little promo package for the main event. So that was nice. It's a massive deal building up that hype. That was great. And then we got a fun little women's tag match of Diona and Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May and Toni Storm. And I thought this was quite fun. I thought it was quite fun. Like, it was nice to have a bit more women on the show. It was pretty high energy. Thunder Rosa ended up getting a quick win. Not sure whether that's going to have like any consequence, whether she'll cross paths with Toni
Well,
Storm or whatever. But I
yeah,
just liked it, and I felt like they were confident this week and motivated, and the
right.
work rate was good. The match was good, and I felt like it's all the morale's high, and I could feel it. Because normally when we have this women's match, this wasn't right before the main event, but it was kind of like a bit of a buffer match. They know that no one's really interested, and they sort of, I don't know, towards the end, what I've noticed with women's matches, they kind of get into it, but at the start it takes them a while to get there, like the confidence in there. But this week I could really notice like just the good vibes, man, the good vibes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I had the same thought process because I remember just watching it and thinking, yeah, you can tell that a lot of thought has gone into this match, not just from the wrestlers, but also from like the production team and stuff, and the story, and yeah, there's more confidence. Maybe I think as well the fact that there was like a women's death match coming up on
Yeah,
Rampage afterwards probably played into that too, and like yeah, you just got that impression that it was more like I'm not saying they didn't try before, but like we're gonna try and make this a really good match, and I
yeah,
it made me think watching it like um women's tag matches are really great. I just wish there was more of
yeah.
them. You get you can explore lots of stories with them, and I don't know. I just I just love that it was just a bit different to have the teams and yeah, Tony Storm taking the pin was certainly very different, and I wasn't expecting it. So that should have consequences because you don't just pin the champion and not have some sort of
No, I
follow up.
agree, but for Thunder Rosa, right, as opposed to Diona to have got on the ring,
Yeah,
the win, should I say?
and
Yeah, very
yeah,
unexpected.
yeah,
Um, yeah, good vibes. And then Swerve's Open Challenge. I was quite hyped for this. Then the Butcher came out. I was like,
yeah.
oh,
That was kind of a that was a bit of
oh,
a
okay, okay.
killjoy, wasn't it?
I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I don't think.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want to. If it was going to be like a better credible opponent, they probably would have announced it beforehand. So
True.
it's kind of like yeah, someone like the Butcher who's not gonna beat him, and you know he's not gonna beat him, but oh, he's really big. Can he do it? Sort of situation, maybe to be expected.
Yeah. But like I said, at least it kept Swerve on the show. It keeps him in rotation.
Yeah.
He's continuing to pick up wins before hopefully he gets that. He gets and wins the world championship because he's looking credible. Like right now, if Joe and Swerve verse tomorrow, you wouldn't know. You every time Swerve's in there, in a title match? I don't know, because I do
Yeah.
genuinely believe he's going to go over. I honestly can't remember anything about this match though. I remember the ending that Swerve picked up with the arm breaker, but I couldn't tell you anything that happened.
No,
I remember Swerve.
it was
I
very
remember enjoying it,
forgettable.
but
It was just I just remember
yeah.
thinking it didn't really elevate Swerve in any way. Like, yeah, I totally agree he's a very credible opponent for the championship, but it's not because of like that match. That match didn't really add to that.
Yeah, like I say, I think it was just to keep him on the show, and then obviously we got a post-match bit as well. But yeah, honestly, I can't, because I remember enjoying this show so much, but we're being so critical on it, and I don't even mean to be, because honestly, when I walked away from the show, I was like, I had such a good time. But I think it's almost like I'm just so excited because I'm like, oh, Osprey's here. Oh, and now there's another women's match in. Oh, now there's a Swerve thing and stuff. But I don't know. Now I'm like talking about it. I'm like, I've seen me really down on it, but I did have fun, which obviously is the most important thing. It's why we watch AEW, to have fun. But yeah, it was quite inconsequential.
Well, I think that it would be worse if we were talking, we had nothing to talk about, and we're just like, well, this was kind of boring and this was shit. Like, at least, yeah, we might be being critical about certain parts, but I think that kind of shows that it's interesting. And
Yeah.
like it's good that we it was positive overall, but you look at the details and there's certain things you can pick apart. That doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah, there's things this week that did very well, and there's things that I've been enjoying, but as I'm like running through it, I'm like, oh shit. Anyways, so post match, he cuts a promo on Joe, a little impassioned babyface promo. Joe comes out, um, essentially is like, I'm gonna beat your ass, boy. He's about to enter the ring, but then Don Callis comes out, which was quite random. Well, not random because he's associated to Takeshita, but I just wasn't expecting to see him. To absolute thunderous heat. Oh my God, the
Yeah,
heat
I
that
couldn't
man
hear
has
him.
is stunning, especially in his homeland. Stunning. And essentially, Swerve is going to be taking on Takeshita next week. I think it's at Dynamite next week, right? Or was it a
Yeah, I think
collision
so.
match? Yeah. And essentially, Swerve just outlined it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm taking on Takeshita, and I'm coming for you, Joe."
Hmm.
And Takeshita versus Swerve, that's going to be a fucking banger. So
Yeah, that'll be really good, and it's better than Swerve facing a random mid carder. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. So the main event. The
yeah,
main event, it got
it,
round to that.
it had a lot of time.
Um, it did. It almost had like the full last hour, didn't it? Or like at least like 40 minutes,
Oh
50
yeah,
minutes
yeah,
maybe. Or am I
at
just
least about
imagining that?
35-40 minutes.
Yeah. My first note is, God, they just can't get that fog machine right for Copeland, can they? It came out and there were no fog, and then suddenly there's pissing loads of fog as soon as he walks away. Like they're just terrible with it.
I Right, not to dunk on the hardworking production people, but you saying that has
No,
reminded me.
we're just dunking on everyone today, don't we?
There was several
We've got rage in
points
us.
where I thought things like the camera work was just a bit shit. And whether
At
that's
which points? Because it usually
um
is quite not amazing.
so specifically when Julia Hart appeared, like the
Mm.
right at the start.
Spooky reveal.
Yeah, spooky reveal, it went all dark, you couldn't see anything. And then the lights came back on. The camera was on Monet in the ring, but she was looking at Julia Hart. So the camera should have been on Julia Hart too, and it should have been
Yeah,
that
or at
moment
least
of
cutting between them
realization.
more rapidly.
Yeah, but we were just looking at Monet being like, what's she looking at? What's happened? I don't know. To me, you should just because as well the commentary team, they're looking at their monitors. They didn't know what's happening either, so that affects them. And a similar thing happened in the main event too, when they were fighting. Like we'll get more into the details of the match in a little bit, but basically they fought backstage, and Adam was like downing a drink from a fan. he picked up the drink. The camera moved to Christian, and by the time it moved back to Adam, he'd already finished the drink. I don't know, it's like little details like this. It's like you didn't even get to see him doing this, so kind of the whole point was missed. And then the commentary,
Maybe
and
they
then
thought he were going
he
to
had to
throw it
take
in
another.
someone's face.
Yeah, he had to take another drink and then do it again. But then it just makes the
So
commentary
dumb.
team like confused because they're like, "Oh, I think he did this, but we can't see it, so we don't know." I don't like little things like that, and just like
Literally. No, I get you.
it lacks that little bit of finesse and like the smoke machine as well. It's just like just needs to be a bit more snappy and more perfect. Just needs to be perfect. Why can't it be perfect?
Yeah, why is it not perfect? God. I liked how he came out and obviously the crowd starts singing along to his
Yeah,
theme, but then Christian interrupted it with his. That was great.
that was so asshole. That was such an
I
asshole
wondered
thing
how
to do.
Jericho felt about that. But Copeland had his
Yeah.
theme
Well, you
song.
can only have so many sing-alongs on one wrestling show, can't you?
Maybe he's going to come for him next. That's the next person he's going to attach himself to.
Oh, please
Hopefully his
no.
theme gets sung again.
Please no.
Um, yeah, this was great. Super fun. Instantly at each other. Um, very fast, like good pacing, you know. I'm always surprised when people of that veteran age are able to do a I quit match or
Yeah.
a death match or something. Because not a lot of them can keep the pace, but these two always, it's like they kind of revert back to, I don't know, 2001 or something, and
Mm.
they're just getting that Edge and Christian zone, man. It was great. I loved the bit where obviously they went into the crowd, and I don't know what it is about Copeland, but he always seems to end up in the crowd. He just loves it. He can't keep away. And that little jersey spot. I mean, I'm not Canadian. I don't fucking know what that means, but
Oh
I
yeah.
was
Yeah.
hyped. I was like, hell yeah, he's putting on someone's jersey. He's got another jersey on, and they're beating each other up, and all the Canadian people are pissing themselves over it. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing.
Yeah, to me, I was kind of imagine because I know that hockey's like the big massive thing in Canada, isn't it? It's like football will be here, so I was like, oh, I bet it's kind of like he's put a Man United shirt on or something, and the other one's got a Liverpool shirt on. Like they're complete opposites, I suppose, because one of them was red and one of them was blue. Yeah,
I'm
but
guessing it was the
that got the
hometown
crowd going.
hockey team that he had, the Toronto
Mm.
um one on. But yeah, very fun. And then I think this is during picture in picture, but they made reference to it on commentary that after that, like when they went up and out into the sort of the hallway bit, that Christian ran into the women's restroom, which I liked.
Oh yeah, I saw this bit. Yeah, that was another bit where the camera work was a bit weird. They didn't actually show him going in the bathroom. They just kind of showed that it said women's on the wall. It didn't even say bathroom, and the camera just kind of went to that bit. And then next thing you know, you see loads of women like sprinting out of this bathroom, and then Christian comes
Oh,
sprinting after them. So
brilliant.
it was a bit weird. Funny, I guess, but
Yes. Oh, the camera work. Anyways, so eventually when they did get back into the ring, we had some good ladder spots. We had one where it
yeah,
was sort of on the announce table, and Edge just kind of froze Christian back. I don't know, just threw him back on his head and his back. And then the gnarly one was when he were in the ring, and he just picked up and just threw him on like the middle. I don't even know. So the ladder was up but upside down, and then there's the support, and he threw like
yeah,
his stomach on it. Ugh, that was
yeah, and
disgusting, but
yeah, because with
yeah.
that, he's not only got the impact from yes, the ladder was like this upside down, and he threw him like in the middle of it, like you said. So he had that impact on his stomach, but also the because he hit the bit in the middle that keeps it
Yeah, it
together, so it
closed.
collapsed on him. So then, like all his legs and stuff were trapped in it. I love that because there's not many things that haven't been done with ladders and tables and chairs and stuff in wrestling, but
Mm.
I've not seen that before. I mean, I'm sure it's probably been done, but
No.
I've not seen it before. And I really love that.
Yeah, there was a lot of spots throughout this match that were just like so inventive and creative.
That's
Yeah,
so
that was one
Edge
of
and
them.
Christian, isn't it? That's just like their thing. Is that they're
Yeah.
innovative. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, well, I mean, there was a crossbody through the table, and Copeland got a bit of colour.
Mm.
Then the hockey goal was out because obviously Canada, we need to
Canada.
kind of do. Threw him in there. Crowd were loving it. Shayna then comes out, low blows him with the hockey stick, then starts choking him out with the hockey stick. But he couldn't speak, and I loved it. There were so many spots where like where they were really struggling to speak to really sell it. I was really into that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, that I think that one he had it on Christian had it on his throat. He was
yeah.
struggling to.
And as well, when I think Adam had it in the hockey stick in Christian's mouth, and then Bryce
Yeah, and then the
Remsburg was,
drawstring.
yeah, was like trying to get him to say I quit, and all he could do was like just absolute gibberish because obviously he was
Yeah, he
essentially
can't
gagged.
quit. He can't say yes. He can't say no. But I enjoyed that. It was
Yeah.
yeah, like I say, something a bit different.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it added like a lot of excitement as well to the end of Dynamite because sometimes I don't know, like it can you running the risk of it falling off with the match going so long, but they had so
mm,
many different spots. It was just really interesting
and
the
it
whole
can be
time.
repetitive
Hmm.
because
Um,
typically it'd just be like guys doing submissions on each other.
yeah. Um,
Like they what they do maybe is they do a brutal spot with just a basic like table, chair, I don't know, maybe some thumbtacks, and then they do a submission and then be like, "Do you quit?" And then be like, "No, no, I don't quit. No, no." But this was
yeah.
totally different. It was
Yeah.
like I say, more inventive, and they couldn't speak. They took a totally different spin on it.
And they didn't oversell that as well on commentary. Sometimes I remember that I quit matches like, well, he can't say I quit if he's knocked out or something like this, and it's just
Mm.
like, oh, just shut up. But they didn't overdo that. And another thing as well is that
No.
as much as I dislike Bryce Remsburg and I thought him with a microphone in his hand was going to be my worst nightmare, um, credit to him, like he wasn't always in their face being like, "Do you quit?" He like was only
Yeah,
there.
after every
uh,
little thing.
Yeah, he was only there when it realistically they might have said I quit, and it wasn't too much, and it wasn't
Mm.
overbearing or ridiculous. Um, which in these types of matches in the past, it's fell into that trap of just being just ridiculous, and really annoying when the referee's constantly there. But it wasn't like that, and it made it mean more when he did ask, and when you were like, oh, are they actually gonna do it this time, sort of thing.
Yeah, more like a grudge match, more like I want to hurt you, I want to
Yeah,
destroy you, like sort of thing, rather than I'm better than you, you say it. Like, I don't know, it was just different. It
yeah,
wasn't who's the better wrestler, it was I'm gonna fucking end you sort of vibe.
yes,
Of
yeah.
like much more severity. Do you just want to give a shout out to Shayna's outfit? The milfery, the
Oh
pure
my
milf.
God,
We had PVC. I don't
unbelievable.
care. Like I'm a woman. I'm gonna talk about outfits. Outfits sell like attire is important, people, for
Oh,
the
it is.
story. The PVC leggings, the cheetah high heels, the cheetah blazer with the cheetah gloves. Oh, it was great. That's all I
She
get shout out
serves
about.
every single week, and oh my God. Like I
It
was
was
worried
really
when she got
unnecessary.
involved, had like what this if is it I was like might just be ridiculous, but God, she's amazing. She's like a natural
It
in
is
front of the
amazing.
camera, and the fact that she looks so good every week, I mean, it, she's just a professional. It's like when you've got that, it's yeah, like you say, like yeah, all the women talking about outfits, but presentation's very important, and you
Yeah.
when you come across like a star on TV, then like everyone
Like
watches.
Monet.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
say, you can tell by the way she calls herself CEO and she's got the CEO on her back and the stupid little emoting dance that we're doing. It's obnoxious. Um, yeah. Um, at some point, a barbed wire chair was pulled out. Thought we were gonna get the concerto, then thought we were gonna get some kind of suplex on it or something, but we didn't. We didn't end up using it. So, which again, like it's kind of refreshing for predictability. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you don't
You know,
you
like
can
when
get
he brings a steel chair out, I thought, yeah, 100% he's going to be able to do the concerto, but he didn't. So,
yeah, and you don't need to use every weapon that you get out. Like you've got enough
and
weapons.
that
You don't
makes
need
it
to
look
overdo it.
fake when it's like and now we get the table out, and now we're going to get the kendo stick out and the
Yeah,
chair, and then we're
it's
going to
like
prop it up here on this little bit to,
it's
we're
like
going to
too
run through it
convenient.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you've instantly got the weapon that you wanted to use at that exact moment, and now you're gonna do this exact spot in this exact position. Like, yeah, sometimes if it's you just mix it up a bit, it makes it a bit more natural.
So then obviously Shayna's already out there. Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus come out to help out. Copeland is obviously at a disadvantage, but then Daddy Magic and Garcia come out and basically level him. And then they have some handcuffs and they go about handcuffing them all. Well, before that, actually, there was a bit where Copeland got the ladder out and just did the most insane dive, like the most insane like air time on it. It was crazy. But yeah, they start handcuffing them all. Mama Wayne ends up running away. Christian ends up being handcuffed, and Spike comes out. We low blow Christian. And then we threaten him sort of with over the head, and I was like, oh God, and he's like, I quit. Like, you've won, you can have the title. And yeah, that was the finish. And Copeland's new champion. So what are you making of that ending? What are you feeling about that?
Well, I think maybe it was a little bit in the moment anticlimactic because of all the things he'd gone through. Like, I can imagine that some people wanted some awesome, massive, extreme spot to end it. But if you think about it, he basically threatened to kill him. Why would you not say I quit at that moment? And I feel like it fits Christian's personality as well. A bit of a, like, not a coward because obviously he's been through that whole match, but just like, oh fuck this! Like, I'm not ending my career. Like,
Fuck this.
I'm genuinely scared. And you got that. I love the just the way he came across in the mic. Where he was like, I quit. Like, he sounded genuinely scared. So I liked it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how, we brought Spike back out from Collision. That's nice that we're bringing that back because obviously that had to play a part. I like how he was just brutally humiliated by
Yeah.
the handcuffing is a bit anticlimactic because the thing about handcuffing or taping someone to the ring is it takes a bit of time. Like I said, production wise, I don't know what more they can do to make it faster, but obviously the adrenaline's going. I'm sure we're sweaty and our hands are. I'm sure it is
Yeah.
quite difficult to do. But yeah, obviously that sort of takes the energy out a bit. But yeah, he was completely and brutally just leveled in front of his little family, his little followers. I thought it was a good
Mm.
ending. I was quite satisfied with it. But I haven't been online. I have no idea what people think this week, which is interesting.
I had a
It's
quick
interesting, I will
look.
say that.
Yeah, I had a quick look and like all I really saw was positive stuff. Um, it was mainly people talking about how much they loved the Okada match. I didn't
Yeah.
and saying, the Edge and sorry, Adam and Christian match was really good. And I didn't really say anything about the ending though. But yeah, I think it's a really good point that you make that he was humiliated like in front of his, like his family that he's built up because you got to think that's probably going to change their dynamic. Because he's built himself up. They obviously all respect him.
Or he's going to
And
be even more heated because not only is he taking I think it's just going to take the feud to the next level. Not only have you fucking taken my title away from me, you handcuffed my son and Luchasaurus. You handcuffed me, and he's going to come out and he's going to be like, and you cheered that? You cheered that spite? I was about to get murdered. Like,
yeah.
it could totally play into it. Obviously, we knew that Copeland was going to win, but it was what made you want to watch this week was the way he was going to win.
Mm,
So while it was annoying to get that spoiler, it was more how he was going to get the win.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's perfect. Like you said, the way that when it happened, he was like, I quit, because if he'd been babyface, the babyface would have taken it because the babyface wouldn't want to look weak or cowardly. Not that it's cowardly, it's just smart. He's just smart. But yeah, I mean, let's see where we go from here. Personally, I think it's just gonna level it up even more. But then I'm like, God, how much more leveled up can we get? They're gonna murder each other at this point.
I
After
know.
that street fight as well. Now to this.
It's just like, yeah, complete violence. But we've said this before many times, but I love how AEW just has a bit of everything, and I love the little bit of extreme violence that we get almost every week. It's just something for everyone, a little bit of spice. It's great. It's not too much.
Uh,
It's just
yeah.
enough.
And now that we're getting a bit more women's wrestling as well, just to balance it out even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, when I finished the episode, I was really high on it. I actually thought at the end of it, oh, like I'm gonna rate it higher than last week, because last week's episode we both collectively agreed on 8.5. But then running through it, I don't know, like being a bit nitpicky. I don't know.
Mm, yeah, don't think I enjoyed it as much as last week. I don't know if that's just maybe because of the spoilers that I saw, or
Yeah, I feel like that would definitely taken me out of it, because like I said, the Eddie Okada match was just fantastic. And I mean, I know we did shout out Okada a lot, but Eddie was
oh yeah.
on like top form during that as well.
I think Eddie
Um,
is always on top form. I think it's easy to take him for granted because he's always so good. Um, yeah, he always performs.
yeah, always. Um, but yeah, I mean, where are we at for next week, for the future? Like, what are we thinking? Where are we thinking things are going to sort of progress to? I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't know where they're going, and I kind of like that. Like with the Adam Copeland and Christian thing, where are we exactly going?
Hmm.
You know,
Is
I don't
that's
know. I think it's good to have a
presumably,
bit of that.
yeah, presumably not the end between them. We'll probably see some fallout. But
Mm.
looking forward to seeing Copeland as champion. He can definitely do a lot with that, and the people he could potentially have a feud with is going to be exciting.
And another thing I just wanted to talk about, we could have really talked about this at the start, but we did get, not to be, what's it, Lucy called it, a viewership bro. Not to be a viewership bro, but we did get the demo back, obviously for last week, and I don't know if you saw it, it was 800K for Monet's debut. So what do you make of that? Because obviously people have been talking about that a lot online. I wonder your thoughts with
I
that this week as
mean,
well. Were you expecting it to be that low?
I've seen people, yeah, I've seen people being like, well, it was a massive failure, wasn't it? Look at this compared to CM Punk. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, come on, be for real. Like, no, I wasn't expecting it to be so low. I guess I was surprised, but that doesn't, to me, immediately mean that it was bad or it was a fail. To me, that's just like maybe something with the build up and the promo wasn't quite right. Um, what that is, I don't know. But I do think you have less hype around Mono than you do CM Punk. I feel like CM Punk's like the hottest possible, like
Well, he hadn't been in
controversial.
wrestling at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was different, and I think to compare them is tight. And I think that everything Monet has achieved and she's done, and con in context, for a women's wrestler to have so much hype, that's amazing. And to have her sort of as the main attraction for that show, it's amazing. And I'd okay, I would have liked it if the viewership was up to kind of prove people wrong who chat shit about her and chat shit about AEW, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a milli. I won, but when I saw the number, I was a bit taken aback because it's just the average. 800K at the minute seems to be the average. So yeah, you would have thought it would have gone up, because essentially what that's telling us is everyone who watched that week they're already a fan of AEW anyway, which makes sense, you know. Because obviously Monet's been in New Japan, she's been doing indie stuff for a while now. Yeah, and I mean, same for Osprey, same for Okada. These new expensive signings have not brought in viewership, and you would assume that that would have had a big part as to why they got paid as much. I think you would have had them either way, because just for the clout and for the star power, on like in the internet community, I suppose. But you would have thought logically that there would have at least been an increase of any form, and for the two have not have been, it is a bit concerning, because it's like growing the product, and you would assume again that it is a business, and as a business owner you want to grow your product. So then, but it confronts with the ugly truth of it's not about who you sign at this point. It doesn't matter unless you sign fucking Becky tomorrow or Roman Reigns, which you're not going to. Unless you sign someone like that, it's to do with the booking, it's to do with the storytelling,
True.
it's to do with the presentation.
Yeah, and it's right. I in my shoot job working marketing, right? There's no such thing as like a quick win. Yeah, to use the wrestling
Oh, brilliant.
terminology,
I love it.
quick wins usually is actually a red flag. So like, you have this amazing new signing and you have a spike in viewership. That's actually like not a good thing because it's not sustainable. So, but even though the data looks good, oh my God, look at these massive viewership figures. Like it's not sustainable. So yeah, you're right. You need the long term. It's, but and I think that Mercedes is a long term thing because she's proven that if as long as she's not treated like shit, she's loyal and she's a very hard worker and she's true to herself. So if she can elevate the women's division, that's going to bring in more viewers, I think, from WWE sort of female demographic who are really into, like, you mentioned Becky Lynch before, for example. Like, I think she has a lot of fans. If they can like move, they might move over to AEW. If they see that she's doing really big things, then you bring in them. That's a long-term win rather than a short-term win of
Yeah.
just like people instantly tuning in to see her debut. Does that
I
make sense?
mean, it does make sense, but the way I view wrestling at the minute, and this is just my take on it. So obviously, we were all WWE fans because that's all we fucking had. Yeah, you'd watch a bit of New Japan, yeah, you'd watch a bit of British Indies, but you were stuck with WWE. Then, of course, we got AEW, and a lot of people went to AEW, including people who've been long-term fans, like Bullet Club and Kenny and The Elite, but also including disgruntled WWE fans. When WWE started getting good again, all those disgruntled fans were like, oh, fuck this, like WWE. At the same time, AEW starts to go on a decline for many reasons. But then kind of what's happened is me and you and that type of crowd are stuck around. But not only now, WWE hasn't just grown because of people coming, old AEW fans. It's had a spike. There's mainstream fans who are very casual, just as there was in the PG era. They don't have a clue who Mercedes Monet is. They don't know Sasha Banks is because they weren't even
Yeah.
watching when Sasha Banks was about. They don't know anything. And if they are to turn on AEW because they're curious, because they hear a bit of chatter about it online, they turn it on. And I mean, if they turned it on the past 2 weeks, I think they would have enjoyed it because I think the presentation has been good. But if they'd watched it before and it's like bloody
Golden Jets.
Serpentico or whatever and Gravity, like what the hell's going on? You know? So
Yeah.
I think that's why we're stuck with this 800k and these signings have not made an impact. And yeah, you're right. It's not just about one person coming in, oh, Mercedes is there, I'm going to start watching. It's about if the women's wrestling is good and the casual fan of WWE who's like, I don't know, there's probably some people who are literally just watching for the women's wrestling, I think, and they're just loving the girl boss, the Rhea Ripley vibe, they're loving that.
Yeah,
Then
I
they might
really think
come
there are.
over for the trend and for the content as opposed to like one person. But I mean, it's just such a nuanced conversation, but I
It
just
is.
wanted to bring it up because it was shocking to me that it was 800k, like I say. And even with that thought process, you'd still have thought there'd be people that would check it out.
Yeah.
But are we all just here on our own little island?
I know.
Like, I don't know.
It's such a difficult conversation as well because there are other metrics to consider. So things like tickets sold and
Oh,
social
but
reach, etc.
this was good. We got 6k in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
we did do good.
I
But
wonder like what Tony and everyone involved values most. Like
oh
what do
well, you know
they
what he values most.
what do they
He
define as
just wants to
success?
have his little action figures. And then he's like, I've signed Mercedes Monet, I've signed a 6-star loss, and I'm with him there. But his logic is, I've done this. And I can just see him, he reads that number and he's like, it's like Chris Jericho, like a self-awareness. Why is this happening? It isn't my fault.
Hmm.
I've given you Mercedes Monet, but it's more nuanced than that. But yeah, I
I
agree.
think
What are the exact metrics?
what's their measure of success? And I think WWE has this sort of perfect squeaky clean brand image, and over the years they've perfected like I don't know,
Brushing
like
things under the rug. I'm
and
feeling real shady tonight.
they're sort of they're very corporate, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. AEW isn't. So I guess maybe to them they care about what people are saying online because we all know that Tony Khan is online.
Oh, they do. They all are. They all go backstage instantly and they're on Twitter. Have you seen Max Caster lately on Twitter? I mean,
Oh,
that
it's
was like
so
over the
bad.
week ago.
So bad.
I mean, media training is not a thing.
Yeah.
That is not in the budget.
Yeah, precisely. It's not. Yeah, this is what I mean, and I'm not saying that WWE is better for this. I'm not saying that at all. But they have this like very corporate, squeaky clean. We are this. We are not that type of thing. Whereas AEW is more. It's more gritty. That's why a lot of people like it more. But then without that kind of when you have Tony Khan wanting to be people's friend rather than their boss, which. Mm, you can argue we can argue either way whether that's true or not, but that's kind of the impression that I get. Um it's
Oh, did you
less
see the
rigid.
Okada hug?
Oh my God. It's
That
just
were
like
bad. That one was bad.
it's just Tony Khan like living out a fantasy and like I am happy for you, mate. But
Yeah,
like
I love his fantasy. I'm here. I'm
you're
talking about it. Clearly, we love the fantasy.
yeah, I know. But
But I
then
don't want
you
the fantasy to end. I want the fantasy to be
well
sustainable
yeah,
and
exactly. We need it to
profitable.
be sustainable. We need that cash flow. We need the viewership figures or else the sponsorships
I
are
would
gonna
love to
stop.
see the books. I'd love to.
And
Also,
I want some media
yeah, just carry
training.
on.
I want some media training. That's the last thing I was going to say.
On the Mercedes, before we head off, but this is all relevant. The Mercedes train. Have you seen about the comments that she made? Because there's been heat backstage, apparently, that she said, I'm going back to WWE one day. And apparently there's heat with some of the women that she's got such a large contract, but they don't. And again, if she's sort of like, well, I'm off back to WWE, I'm just for me. And again, I'm not shitting her for that. I'm just saying what's being said. That's causing tension,
I've not
especially
seen
from like the
this.
day ones. You haven't
I,
seen this?
no, I
Oh,
haven't.
yeah. Yeah, so apparently, and it's kind of what it's kind of giving shades of is CM Punk to me.
Yeah.
If
I
she's coming in
mean,
with a different approach, and again, I'm not shitting on it. I think her being there is one of the best things. Clearly, look at this week. Look at the way the women are being presented. And I don't think every woman is saying this. I think there's a lot of them who are probably really happy for her to be there. But can I believe that some women are disgruntled by the contract and by, especially if she's making comments like, well, I'm going back to WWE one day, they just feel like they're a stepping stone and like they're being used.
you would be pissed off. It makes sense if someone's coming in and getting paid shitloads more than you would be pissed off. If you feel like they've not worked as hard as you, like, yeah. It- mm, mm.
I just think it's something to just keep in mind because I can definitely see that escalating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like deja vu. Seen this before.
Mark Henry's there rubbing his hands. He's like, all the problems are not gone. It's all right though. We've got great EVPs that are gonna
Oh yeah, they're
gonna
gonna solve all our
look
problems.
after us. Anyways, sorry, that was a massive tangent about the drama, but interesting.
Interesting stuff. It's good to cover the drama. It's like everyone talks about it all the time. You can't avoid
Yeah.
it. Wrestling is like the most wrestling fandom is like the most gossipy, toxic fandom. Like it's unbelievable. But I love it. I love the drama.
Just love the drama, Mick. So what is your ranking? You said you didn't enjoy it as much as last week. What are you giving it?
Um, well, I don't think I did enjoy it as much as last week, but I don't think it was like a lot worse than last week. I don't know. I don't know why exactly. For that reason, what did I give it last week? 8.5. I'll probably give it an 8.
Yeah.
Those,
Yeah, I'm happy to give it an 8.
yeah, like
Agree
those
on that.
title matches that really felt like they mattered. Things have been set out for next week that I'm interested in. I'm even interested to watch Rampage. Fuck me, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, but obviously going through it, there is some details, and some of it is just concern. But then again, it is on them if we have concern, because it means it's from past behaviour.
Yeah, it's like we've been conditioned to to worry.
Yeah, repeating the same behaviour over and over again is defined as insanity. So me continuing to trust Tony Khan with the women's division is the definition of insanity. But yeah, we'll settle on an 8, so a slight decline, but still good. And yeah, you got anything else that you want to touch on?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, we've covered a lot. That was that was really
Yeah.
fun. I really enjoyed that. And like you said, just because yeah, we were nitpicky certain parts, but it doesn't mean it was bad. And
Yeah.
it's just great that there's enough interesting things to talk about. Um, so yeah, thanks for listening. Be sure to let us know what you thought. What rating would you give it?
Out of
And
10. That's
yeah.
our metric system.
Oh yeah, no 5 stars.
We're
It's out of
trademarking
10.
the out of 10. Some people have got percentage, some people have got 5. We're trademarking the out of 10.
Yeah, it's more dynamic
So
that way. Yeah. So yeah, leave a comment, let us know what you thought, and please give us a rate on Spotify and share us with your friends, all your wrestling marks who might enjoy this. Spread the word. We really appreciate everyone who's subscribed and listened. It really means a lot.
yeah, and
And
commented and liked all of
yeah,
it.
yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yep, bye.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye.